Have you ever found yourself in a situation where someone seems to be playing mind games with you? Maybe it's a friend who always tries to manipulate your emotions, a partner who knows exactly how to push your buttons, or even a coworker who thrives on making you doubt yourself. They might be cold one minute, overly friendly the next, or even ignore you completely just to get a reaction out of you. It's frustrating, right? You start wondering, what am I doing wrong? Well, if you've ever been in a position where someone else's behavior is driving you crazy, you're in the right place. In this video, we're going to explore powerful Stoic reverse psychology strategies that will not only help you regain control but also flip the script on anyone trying to manipulate you. You won't just survive these mind games, you'll thrive staying calm, composed, and always one step ahead. If you're ready to learn how to win the mind game, stay tuned. You'll walk away with tactics that make sure no one ever messes with your peace again. Strategy number 1. Ignore them too. Ignoring someone who's trying to provoke you is one of the most powerful tools in reverse psychology. Think about it. People often thrive on the attention they receive, whether it's positive or negative. When someone is being rude, manipulative, or trying to get a reaction out of you, ignoring them takes away their power. Imagine someone at work constantly making sarcastic remarks or trying to undermine your efforts. Instead of firing back or trying to prove your worth, you simply continue working as if they don't exist. You stay focused on your tasks, and before long, they start feeling uneasy. Why? Because they've lost their ability to control your emotions. In personal relationships, this works the same way. Let's say a friend or partner is giving you the silent treatment or being passive-aggressive. The natural instinct is to confront them, right? But ignoring the behavior, showing that you're not affected, forces them to rethink their tactics. They might come to you looking for validation or an emotional response, but the more you stay neutral and composed, the more control you have. The person who tries to provoke you begins to feel like their actions don't matter. In essence, ignoring someone who is trying to manipulate or control you disrupts their psychological game. They want to affect you, but when you remain indifferent, they realize their tactics aren't working. It's a simple yet effective way to turn the tables in your favor without needing to say a word. Strategy number 2. Don't react emotionally. This strategy is all about emotional control. When you don't react emotionally to someone's provocation, you shift the power dynamic entirely. Think about situations where someone tried to get under your skin. Maybe they criticized your work in front of others or made a hurtful comment during an argument. The natural instinct is to lash out, defend yourself, or get angry. But when you take a step back and maintain composure, you catch them off guard. For example, picture a scenario at a family gathering where someone says something offensive or digs into a sensitive topic. They're expecting a reaction, an outburst. But instead, you simply smile, nod, and move on to the next conversation. They're left wondering why they didn't get the reaction they wanted. And in doing so, you've defused the situation without escalating it. Stoicism teaches that external events shouldn't dictate your emotional state, and this is a perfect example of that in action. When you practice emotional control, people can't manipulate you as easily. They may try to rile you up, but when you stay calm and collected, you communicate a sense of strength that they can't penetrate. This doesn't mean suppressing emotions, but rather managing how and when you choose to express them. Emotional detachment from provocations is a superpower in relationships, work, and life in general. Strategy number 3. Remove them from your mind. Mentally removing someone from your thoughts is one of the most freeing strategies, especially when it comes to toxic relationships or people who drain your energy. Imagine you've been in a situation where someone, perhaps a coworker or even a friend, has hurt or betrayed you. It's easy to ruminate on their actions, replaying conversations or imagining what you could have said or done differently. But this mental repetition keeps you trapped, giving them power even when they're not physically present. Instead, you can choose to remove them from your mind. Whenever thoughts about them pop up, you acknowledge it, and then you consciously choose to refocus on something else. This could be your work, your hobbies, or your goals. Over time, their influence on your mental and emotional well-being diminishes. This is a key practice in Stoicism, recognizing that your mind is under your control, not the control of external forces or other people. This doesn't mean that you never think about them again, but rather that you refuse to allow their actions or words to dictate your inner peace. You might even be in a situation where you still have to interact with this person, say, a coworker or family member, but by mentally distancing yourself, you ensure that they don't have the same emotional grip on you. They can say or do whatever they want, but you've taken them off the pedestal in your mind, and that's where true freedom begins. Strategy number 4. Demonstrate your value. Sometimes the best way to win in the mind game is to simply rise above it. Instead of getting dragged into petty arguments or trying to prove your worth through words, let your actions speak for themselves. If someone doubts your abilities, whether at work or in your personal life, proving them wrong doesn't have to involve confrontation. You demonstrate your value by excelling in what you do. This could be through completing a project successfully, achieving a personal goal, or simply living a life that reflects your values. For example, if a coworker is trying to undermine you, instead of engaging in back and forth or defending yourself verbally, you can channel your energy into producing exceptional work. The results speak for themselves, and over time, it becomes clear who's actually contributing value. In relationships, this can mean focusing on becoming the best version of yourself, physically, emotionally, and mentally, so that your worth is evident without needing validation from others. Stoicism teaches that you should focus on your virtues and actions, not on how others perceive you. When you live in alignment with your values, people will eventually notice. And even if they don't, your self-worth isn't dependent on their approval. This strategy is about playing the long game. You may not get immediate recognition, but over time, those who doubted or tried to bring you down will see that their efforts were in vain. Strategy number 5. Cut off contact. There are times when the healthiest and most effective thing you can do is simply cut someone off. Whether it's a toxic relationship, a manipulative friend, or a draining colleague, cutting off contact can be a form of self-preservation. It sends a clear message that you're no longer willing to be part of the dynamic they're creating. This isn't about ghosting people without explanation, but about setting a boundary that protects your mental and emotional well-being. Think of it like this. If you're constantly around someone who brings out the worst in you, drags you into drama, or makes you feel small, cutting them off gives you the space to grow and heal. This doesn't always have to be forever, but in the short term, it gives you the freedom to reclaim your peace. In a work scenario, it might mean limiting interactions with a difficult colleague, or in a personal relationship, it might mean taking a break from someone who constantly drains you. Stoicism is all about guarding your inner peace and controlling what you can. If a person's presence in your life is causing more harm than good, you have the right to step away. Cutting someone off doesn't mean you hate them or wish them ill. It simply means you prioritize your own mental health and well-being. In doing so, you free yourself from their influence and regain control over your own emotional landscape. Strategy number 6. Prove them wrong. One of the most satisfying outcomes of reverse psychology is silently proving your doubters and naysayers wrong through your actions. This strategy doesn't involve engaging in heated debates or trying to verbally justify yourself. Instead, you let your results do the talking. Think about a time when someone doubted your capabilities, maybe at work or in your personal life. It could be a coworker who belittled your skills, or a friend who didn't believe you could accomplish something significant. Rather than reacting emotionally or trying to convince them, you stay calm, remain focused, and prove them wrong by excelling. For example, if someone tells you that you're not capable of achieving a certain goal, whether it's related to fitness, career, or personal growth, you channel that doubt into motivation. You work quietly behind the scenes, staying disciplined and determined. Over time, your results will speak louder than any words could. You hit your fitness goals, you land that promotion, or you achieve a major milestone in your life. And when you do, the person who doubted you is left in awe, realizing that their judgment was flawed. The beauty of this strategy lies in its simplicity. You don't need to waste energy explaining yourself or seeking validation. Stoicism teaches us to focus on our own actions and virtues, and by doing so, we naturally dismantle the criticisms and doubts of others. This is the ultimate form of personal victory. You rise above the noise, stay true to your path, and let your success be the response to those who doubted you. Strategy number 7. Go out and have fun. One of the best ways to get under someone's skin without even trying is to simply live your life to the fullest. When someone expects you to be upset, withdrawn, or miserable because of their actions, showing them that you're out enjoying life is a powerful message. This strategy works because it conveys that you're unbothered by their attempts to disrupt your peace. Think about a breakup or an argument with a friend. People often expect you to sulk or wallow in sadness. Instead, you can reverse that expectation by going out, having fun, and showing that your life goes on. Picture this. After a falling out with a friend or partner, instead of staying home and ruminating, you go out with other friends, enjoy a night out, take up a new hobby, or even travel. You post pictures, share stories, and let your happiness shine. You're not doing it out of spite, but because you genuinely choose to live in the moment and embrace joy. When the person who tried to hurt you sees this, it forces them to reconsider their actions. They realize that they didn't have the power over you that they thought they did. In the end, this strategy is about prioritizing your well-being and happiness. You don't let someone's negative energy dictate your life. Stoicism teaches us to find joy and contentment within ourselves, regardless of external circumstances. By going out and having fun, you're showing the world, and yourself, that your peace and happiness aren't dependent on anyone else. Strategy number 8. Build your social status. Elevating your social status is another powerful reverse psychology strategy, especially when dealing with people who try to diminish your worth. When you work on improving your social standing, whether through building relationships, advancing in your career, or engaging in meaningful activities, you naturally gain respect from others. The people who doubted or tried to undermine you will start noticing that you've risen above their judgments. For example, if someone in your social circle or at work tries to diminish your accomplishments or criticize your efforts, you can focus on networking with the right people and advancing your personal growth. Instead of reacting to their negativity, you quietly work on your goals, build connections with influential people, and become a person of value. Maybe you join a professional organization, volunteer for a leadership role, or even start a side project that gains recognition. Over time, your social status grows, and the people who doubted you begin to realize they underestimated your potential. This isn't about superficial popularity or fame. It's about cultivating respect through meaningful actions. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of focusing on what's within our control, our actions, character, and the way we interact with others. As you build your social status, the people who once tried to bring you down may find themselves seeking your approval or attention. You've flipped the script without ever needing to engage in direct confrontation. Strategy number 9. Act as if they don't exist. One of the ultimate power moves in reverse psychology is acting as if the person who's trying to get a reaction from you doesn't exist. This doesn't mean you ignore their presence in a rude or obvious way, but rather that you mentally and emotionally detach yourself from their influence. Picture a scenario where someone is actively trying to provoke you, whether it's through criticism, manipulation, or passive-aggressive behavior. Instead of feeding into it, you act completely unbothered. They may try to needle you, make snide comments, or play mind games, but you don't give them the satisfaction of a reaction. For instance, imagine being in a group setting where someone makes a pointed remark intended to embarrass or undermine you. Instead of reacting, you continue the conversation with others as if their comment was never made. You maintain your composure and focus on the people who matter to you. effectively rendering the person who tried to provoke you invisible in your mind. This can be particularly effective in both personal and professional environments, as it shows that you are in control of your emotions and won't be swayed by petty behavior. This strategy aligns with Stoic principles of emotional detachment and self-control. You're not allowing someone else to dictate your emotional state or behavior. By acting as if they don't exist, you're asserting your independence and refusing to be drawn into unnecessary conflict. Over time, the person may even back off, realizing that their attempts to control or affect you are futile. Strategy number 10. Give them the silent treatment. The silent treatment can be a double-edged sword, but when used as a deliberate strategy rather than a form of emotional manipulation, it can be incredibly effective. In the context of reverse psychology, giving someone the silent treatment is about withholding the reaction they crave. This tactic works particularly well in situations where someone is trying to provoke you into a confrontation. By remaining silent, you deny them the satisfaction of engaging in their drama. Imagine a situation where a friend or partner is trying to start an argument. They throw accusations or make inflammatory statements, hoping to pull you into a fight. Instead of responding, you simply choose silence. You don't engage in their negativity, and this can be incredibly frustrating for the other person. They were expecting a reaction, and now they're left questioning themselves. In the meantime, you've maintained your composure and emotional balance. Silence is powerful because it forces the other person to sit with their own thoughts and behavior. In many cases, they'll start reflecting on their actions, and it might even lead them to apologize or change their approach. The silent treatment, when used strategically and not out of spite, is a way to protect your peace. You're choosing to prioritize your well-being over engaging in unnecessary conflict. Stoicism teaches that silence can be more powerful than words, and by embracing this strategy, you maintain control over your emotional landscape. Strategy number 11. Don't beg for attention. Begging for attention is one of the quickest ways to lose respect from others, and it shows a lack of self-confidence. When someone tries to push you away or ignores you, the natural reaction might be to seek their attention or validation. However, reverse psychology teaches us to do the opposite. When someone pulls away, you pull away too. Rather than chasing after them or seeking their approval, you remain self-assured, knowing that your worth isn't tied to their recognition. Imagine a situation where someone you care about, perhaps a friend or romantic partner, starts to distance themselves. Instead of constantly calling or messaging them, trying to figure out what's wrong or begging for their attention, you back off. You don't engage in desperate attempts to win them over. By doing this, you send a powerful message. Your life doesn't revolve around their approval, and you're perfectly content without their constant attention. This strategy can lead to the other person reconsidering their actions. When they see that you're not clamoring for their validation, they may start to miss your presence and realize they undervalued you. This approach also aligns with Stoic principles of self-sufficiency and emotional control. You're not letting someone else's behavior dictate your self-worth. Instead, you focus on maintaining your inner peace and allowing relationships to flow naturally, without forcing them. Strategy number 12. Be kind but emotionally distant. Being kind yet emotionally distant is a subtle yet effective form of reverse psychology. It involves maintaining a cordial relationship with someone while keeping a healthy emotional boundary. This can be particularly useful when dealing with people who thrive on emotional drama or manipulation. By being polite and kind, you disarm them. However, by staying emotionally distant, you protect yourself from their negative influence. For example, imagine a coworker or acquaintance who often tries to engage you in gossip or emotional conflicts. Instead of getting pulled into their toxic behavior, you maintain a friendly demeanor, but keep your personal feelings out of the interaction. You're kind when you greet them, you're cooperative when working with them, but you don't share your personal thoughts or emotions. This prevents them from drawing you into their drama, while still maintaining a professional relationship. This approach is powerful because it allows you to maintain control over your emotions while also being respectful. People who thrive on manipulation often rely on emotional reactions to keep you engaged in their games. By staying kind but emotionally distant, you're sending the message that while you're willing to be respectful, you're not available for their emotional manipulation. In Stoicism, this is a form of self-preservation, remaining virtuous and kind without sacrificing your emotional balance. Strategy number 13. Don't reveal your struggles. One of the core principles of reverse psychology, especially when combined with Stoic philosophy, is not revealing your struggles to those who might use them against you. When dealing with difficult or manipulative people, showing vulnerability can sometimes backfire. Instead of offering genuine support, they may use your struggles to gain power over you or to manipulate your emotions. That's why keeping your challenges to yourself or sharing them only with those you trust can be a powerful strategy. Imagine a situation where someone you know, maybe a competitive coworker or even a toxic family member, asks about a challenge you're facing. Instead of revealing the full extent of your struggles, you give a measured response. You might say something like, "It's nothing I can't handle," or "I'm working through it." By keeping details to yourself, you maintain control over the narrative. This also prevents others from using your vulnerabilities as a tool against you. At the same time, this doesn't mean bottling up your feelings or not seeking help when needed. It's about being selective with whom you share your struggles. Stoicism teaches us the value of self-reliance and emotional resilience. You don't need external validation or pity to overcome challenges. By keeping your struggles private, you also allow yourself the space to process them internally, without the interference of negative or manipulative influences. When others realize that you're handling your difficulties with grace and not seeking external validation or sympathy, it reinforces your strength in their eyes. This makes them rethink any preconceived notions they had about your weaknesses. In essence, you're turning the tables and maintaining emotional control, which is at the heart of both Stoicism and effective reverse psychology strategies. These strategies, when applied consistently, allow you to maintain control over your emotional landscape while subtly influencing others without direct confrontation. By mastering these approaches, you embody the Stoic ideal of inner strength, emotional resilience, and self-sufficiency. You become the person others can't easily provoke or manipulate, and instead of reacting to their attempts to control you, you rise above, leaving them to question their own tactics.